Hi everyone. Hope you're doing well. Uh, Welcome everyone to today's session on Model Deployment 101. We are doing this as a part of our machine learning bootcamp, which we are doing in collaboration with AI Engineering YouTube channel founded by Srinivasan Srivatsan. And in today's session, we have a guest as Uday, and Uday is the founder of Learn Machine Learning page. Actually, he has a nice community and a couple of pages on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Telegram. So his Instagram page has close to 200K plus followers, and he keeps sharing knowledge, and he keeps spreading knowledge at the same time, sharing knowledge through the page as well as on his social media profiles. He has been great help to a lot of beginners that way, and he keeps delivering and gives back to the community on very constant basis. Apart from that, he's also a machine learning engineer at Dani AI, and that's some context about Uday. And with that, I'll probably hand over the session to Uday. Uday, it's all yours now. We are looking. Thank you for joining us and making time. Yeah.
Okay, hi everyone. Thank you so much, Sanikya, for introducing me and giving this opportunity to share knowledge to a big community. So maybe we can start the session right now. Let me share my. Is my screen is visible? Or?
Yes, it's visible. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, you guys can see my screen. So today's topic is we'll learning more about how to deploy machine learning models, but we will be not going advanced versions, but a small a beginner's level. We'll be using Flask and we'll be and also deploying that on Heroku. So that is for complete beginners. If it is not for advanced people who want to deploy it on other services, but if you want to learn how to deploy and what are the things we need to take care of, then you can go ahead with this session. So let me show the content what we'll be going in this session today. First we'll be learning what is model deployment, and then we'll be learning why model deployment is important, and we also learn what are the things we need to consider and how can be the architecture we need to build. And later we will be completely moving on to the coding part, where we'll be training our model and saving it. We'll also develop the Flask application, and finally we will be deploying that onto the Heroku. We'll be doing in two ways. One is we'll be using their UI, and the other ways we'll be using their command line. And yeah, let's get started. So what is model deployment? If you can see this image right here, which is the life cycle of a machine learning, where it starts from the business needs, and where the business people get the requirements from the clients, and they'll get all the requirements, and then they'll gather the data as a next step, and then they will be choosing few models, and they will be doing a lot of pre-processing, and a lot of things will be happening in the next phase, where we'll be choosing few machine learning algorithms which works best on the data. And then finally we'll be training all the models, and we'll be evaluating them. These 5 steps will be iterative process, where we'll be always iterating until we get the best model which exactly suits the requirements of the clients. And then finally we get into other phase, where we'll be deploying our models, and then we'll be connecting that to the business apps according to the requirements, and we'll be monitoring and optimizing it again and again. These 3 steps are also again the iterative process, where if the monitoring, when you're monitoring your deployed model, and if it not performing well in the production, you'll be again following all the steps again. We'll learn about that one later. So this model deployment is one of the last stages in the machine learning lifecycle, which is very important. So what is deployment? It is nothing but integrating all ML models into an existing production environment, where we will be giving the input and it will be generating the output. So that is what the production environment is. And finally, we'll be doing a lot of projects, and we'll be generating the models and everything, but the ultimate thing is it should be available to the end users. It should be available to the clients, or it should be available to the internal employees who are using all these things. So finally it should be available, and that is what the end goal is. Or or to make any business decisions based on data, we need to deploy the model. Because of that only we can generate all the insights and make the business decisions. So this is why the model deployment is very important. So next, why it is important, why we need that one. So there is a quote here, like you can see, like no machine learning model is valuable unless it's deployed into the production. Without deploying it, we can't generate the insights. No one can use that one, and no, it's like there is no value for the business without deploying that model. So these are the three things, like to make most value out of the ML models. It is completely regarding the business side or clients, whoever want to make some value with the problem they are solving. And there will be a lot of challenges. Like you need to combine a lot of different teams. You need to gather data engineers, data scientists, software developers, business intelligence guys, and everything. Like you need to bring all of them. We need to talk with all of them, and we'll be creating a lot big architecture from the end to end process. So there will be a lot of challenges while deploying the machine learning models. And there can be a future proof, like if you are a student and you'll be doing some projects, but when you go into the campus placements, or if you want to, if someone is recruiting you, so they need to know like how you did this one, and there should be some proof. Like you just mentioned I did this project, but if there is no proof, how can they judge? They cannot go through the complete code which you written on the GitHub, which is very difficult for the recruiters. So what they will be doing is they'll just go to the URL which you mentioned, and they'll be checking, okay, they deployed the model and it is working fine, give some input and we're getting some output. So it can be a very good added advantage in your resume. So that can, so these are the things why it is important. And next, we learn like what are the important things we need to consider while deploying the model. The first thing is input data and the output data, and this is very important. Like where you will be storing your data, and how you're getting that data to the training model, and how the data pre-processing pipeline is, and how the data is passing through that pipeline, and how you are getting the input data, and how you will be generating that as an output, and how you will be showing that to the users. So these are the things very important, like how you will be capturing the input data, and how you will be generating that output data, and where you will be storing that output data, or where you will be showing that output data. Like you need to consider all these things. And the other thing is frequency and urgency. Like it is also important, like how frequently you need to predict uh, the predictions, like how frequently you need to do, and how urgency it is for the users. So that is also very important. And the other thing is like batch or real-time predictions. I'll explain this one in the later slides. Then we'll go to the next one, which is latency, like how fast output should be, because users cannot wait for long times. If they are in urgent and they need the output very fast. Let's say you just given some image and want to write something about that image, so you need to get the output faster. Like latency should be very small. So that is also important. You need to consider how fast the output should be. And the privacy, like user privacy is very important. And if they give some data to your web app or Android app, the data should not leave that website, or that Android app, or it should not leave the server. So that is very important. The user privacy should be protected. And the other important thing is computing costs. You need to consider a lot of things, like the memory usage, the RAM, I mean, the load, and everything, like how much computing it costs by while building the models, or while doing the real-time streaming and everything. So that is also one important thing you need to consider. And the next thing is like what are the frameworks and tooling you need to choose. This is also very important, right? If you're choosing some frameworks, like frameworks depends on the problem you're solving. You can choose a TensorFlow, PyTorch, or a scikit-learn according to the requirements of the problem you're solving. And the other thing you need to choose is the programming language, which is relevant. Like you can choose Python or Java based on your requirements, or the cloud as well. Like what is important to you, you'll be choosing that one, AWS, GCP, and Azure. Like how to choose the best one. You can choose the best one based on these three properties, like how efficient it is. Like if you're using some tool, that tool should be very efficient in using the resources. Like it should be allocating the right resources, and it should be using in the right way. It should not use the high resources or low resources. Like it should be allocating in the right way. It should be efficient. So that is one property. And the popularity, like how popular that tool is. If it is high popular, then you'll be getting a lot of support from the community. If it is open source, it is better. Like you'll be getting a lot of support, a lot of help from large communities. And you also consider support, like how supporting the staff is, how supporting the communities. If you face some problem, how well they are supporting you. If it is not open source, then you need to consider this one, like how efficiently they are supporting you. And the other thing you need to consider is the feedback and iteration. Like when you, after deploying your models, the important thing is you need to monitor that one. You need to continuously get the feedback by tracking and monitoring your model. Because if you don't do that one, uh, the model performance can be decay, like it can be depreciate. You can also face bias creep or data skew problems, or also drift as well, where you'll be getting the different results because of you're getting the different input data to make the predictions. So you need to train on that data as well. So you need to get the continuous feedback why your model is failing, why your model is not predicting in the right way. So after that, after you're getting the feedback, what you will be doing is you'll be training a model with that data. You'll be testing it, and again you'll be deploying that one. So it's like a continuous integration process. You'll be deploying, you'll be getting the feedback. You'll all the do other things like training or testing and deploying again. Again you'll be getting the same. Again you'll be getting the feedback by tracking and monitoring things. So this is also very important. And the other things we need to consider is while building the models. Like these are the four things you need to consider when you are building the machine learning model. The first one is portability. Like how portable it is, the software or the model you generated, how portable it is while transforming that from one machine to the other machine. Like your model should be portable, like it should be supported in any environment you are using. Or if you, let's say you deployed the complete your architecture on some cloud services, if you want to transform that from that service to the other service, like how portability is, like how portability it is. Whether you'll be you need to do a lot of things while migrating, or you need to do very less things where you can reusable all the other things. So that is a thing we need to consider, like portability. And the next one is scalability. Whether your model or algorithm is ability like it's scalable, like it need to be scaled to large number of requests, because you'll be getting thousands or lakhs of requests at a time. Like your model should be handling all those things. And the other one is operationalization, where it refers to the deployment of models to be consumed by business applications. Like how well your model is predicting the things. Either it can be a regression or classification, like how well it is predicting the output. And the other one is testing, like refers to the validation of output to the process and input. Like whenever you're passing some input, like you need to do a rigorous testing whether that model is working perfectly or not, whether it is giving the right results or not to the given data. Like testing is very important while you're building the models. So these are the four things you need to consider while building the models. And next we can see the system architecture, like how good it should be and what are the things you need to consider while building the system architecture while deploying your models. So these are the these are the five things you need to consider. One is modularity, like how well you can module the different steps. So let's say you're building some model and you'll be keeping things in modules. The first thing can be a model training. The second thing can be data pre-processing pipeline. Third thing can be testing or the prediction thing. So these all should be in a module wise. It's like how modular it can be, you can create that into. And the next one is reproducibility. Like if you are creating some architecture, try to create the complete code which can be reusable. Because if you are deploying a new version of code, let's say, but if you are changing, if you need to change a lot of things, then that is not very efficient, because you need to create things which can be reproducible, because all the data pre-processing pipelines can be reusable, the testing can be reusable, and model training code can also be reusable. So you need to create in that way. And scalability, this is very important. Like you'll be getting a lot of requests, but you need to handle everything. It can be asynchronous or asynchronous, but you need to handle a lot of requests which your model need to do. Like the scalability is very important. And extensibility is like if you're building some architecture, it should be extensible. Whenever you want to add something in the future, it should be easy to that one. You should not face a lot of problems while extending something. So you need to develop architecture in such a way that it should be easy for you to add new features. And testing also is very important. Like whenever you deploy different models, you need to do a rigorous testing. Which one is working best with the data which is incoming from the users or from the clients. So you need to do a lot of testing there also. And let's say this can be the high level architecture of an ML system, where you will be having a 4 layers. The first layer will be a data layer, uh, where it will be having access to all the data sources. It can be input data, or it can be the output data, or it can be the data which is coming from the users, let's say the stream data. So that data layer will have all the access to the data sources. It can be database or anything. And the next layer is a feature layer, where you will be generating the feature data from that data which you got from the data layer. And this layer should be like transparent, reusable, and scalable. Because when you have a large data and you want to do some pre-processing, so it should be scalable, because you don't do a data point at a time, but you need to do in the parallel. So it should be scalable, and the code should be reusable as well. See, which is very important. Like you don't need to invest a lot of time again writing the code from the scratch. So this layer is the second layer. And when we go to the third layer, it's scoring layer, where you will be converting these features into the predictions. Like you'll be passing the data to the model and it will be generating the predictions. So that is the third layer. And the fourth layer will be the monitoring, or comparing like how closely the training predictions match the predictions of the live traffic. So this is where the evaluation layer, where you'll be evaluating your model, how good it is, how good it is predicting the results. So these can be the 4 layers in the architecture of an ML system. And we have a different methods to while deploying your models. It can be, let's say, when you're training, you can do that in the 2 ways. One is batch training, and the other thing is a real-time training. So what is batch training? We can also say like ad hoc training, where you will be having all the data, and you will be using all the data to train your model, which is a offline training, which you will be training whenever you have the resources. But you'll be training with all the data available, and finally at one point of time you'll be deploying that into the production. And whenever you get the new data, or whenever your model is not working, what you need to do is you need to retrain the model again from the scratch. So that is one of the biggest problems. Like if you have a large amount of data, and if you want to retrain your model continuously every day or every hour, it is very difficult. If you have a large amount of data, it is resource consuming, and the computation cost will be very high. So that is what batch training will be. But if you go into the real time, what it will be is it will be learning. The model will be learning on fly. See, if you see this image, right, the right side, so where what you will be doing is, okay, what you will be doing is, first you'll be getting the data, and then you'll be training your ML model with that data, and you'll be evaluating that solution. If that model is best, you'll be launching that into the production. And here, whenever you get the new data, that data, your model will be continuously learning from that data. Let's take an example. Okay, let's consider the batch training, where you will be using the gradient descent. It will consider the complete data. You'll be having the complete data, training that, and if you find the best model, you'll be launching that. But when you come to real time, it will be using a stochastic gradient descent. And here it will be considering only few batches of input data, or a single point. It can be a single point or it can be a batch. So whenever the model is in production, you get a new data, and this model will be trained on that new data, and the weights will be updated every time whenever you get a new data. So that is what stochastic gradient descent is, right? So you'll be having, it will be training on single points, and it will, all the weights will be changing. So that is what we'll be doing in the real time data. So when you want to use the when you need to use the real time data, whenever you have a data which doesn't fit into the memory. So you have a large amount of data which doesn't fit into the memory. So what you will be doing is, you will be doing a real-time training, where you can use batches of data which you get into the memory, train that one, remove that one. You'll be getting the next batch, training the model, and removing that data. So you'll be doing in that way. Or if the data distribution drift over time. So whenever, if you think you'll be getting an input data which is very different from the data you trained on, so then you can use the real-time training. It will be learning every day, so it works best on every day. Whenever, if you think the data will be changing over time. So these are the two cases. And the third case is, data is a function of time. So let's consider an example of a stock price prediction. So if you have a stock data, like, your model should be learning every day, every time, every minute, or every second. So you can use the real-time training here as well, where you'll be getting the new data, you'll be training every time. So these are the two different types of training. One is batch training and the real-time training. And when we come to the next one, like serving, like nothing but prediction. We also have the two types here. One is batch and the other one is real time. So let's consider the batch one. So what you'll be doing is, whenever you're getting request, you'll collect all those requests. You'll collect a lot of different requests, and you will store them at one point. And at one point in a day, or at one point in a hour, you will be predicting the result of these batch, and you'll be passing the output to the requested results. So you can consider an example like Netflix or Amazon Prime. Like, let's say you're watching movies every day. So you'll be so that recommendation model should be trained every day. So what it will be doing is, it will be the model will be getting requests from every user, and it will collect that in one queue, and it will make the predictions at one point. Let's say night, it will be predicting all the results at night. So whenever you open your Amazon Prime or a Netflix, you'll be getting a new recommendations every day. So that can be one example. And the other example is like real time, where you'll be getting a request, and you'll be getting the result at the same time. Like, you'll be getting the request and it will be generating the result at the same time. So you can take any example like stock price prediction, or let's say a Google Assistant, or Alexa, anything. So whenever you give some input to that one, you'll be getting the output at the same time. So these are the two types of predictions. Okay, I think we are done with the theoretical part. So before moving into the coding part, like, if you have any questions, you can ask them. I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah, I think so far there are no technical questions. No, I mean, very concrete technical questions. We can move on. And before we move on, maybe you can click on that hide thing, stop share
Oh,
beside. Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
yeah, great, great. I think it went with the flow, and yeah, we can continue. Maybe if there are any questions, I'll interrupt. I mean, I'll interrupt in the next practical week. Okay.
Okay, okay, sure. So,
Yeah.
okay, we'll move on to the next section,
Yeah.
like the coding part. Okay, first thing what we will be doing is, we'll be training the model and saving it. So before doing that one, we can create a GitHub repository where you will be storing all your code part there, and then finally you will be deploying that into the Heroku. That is one way. Another way we're doing is the through command line. So first we'll be doing through the UI part. So first thing is we need to create a repository. So let me go and create a new repository. So I'm taking a new repository right now. So you can give any name. So I was giving deploy Flask and add a reading file, and then I'll create a repository. So after you create a repository, so you can just clone that into your local. You can just do in multiple ways, but the easy way is like using GitHub desktop. So I'm using that one. So it is easy to clone the complete repository. So I just cloned it and I'll open through that editor. So I'm using Visual Studio. So all the available in my repository, like, which is good. So the first thing is like model training. Okay, let's first train the model. So before that one, I recommend you to create a new virtual environment because uh, it should not disturb any other of your projects. So it's best to create a virtual environment. So I'll be creating that one. You can install virtual env through Python command. So it's already installed. So I'll just create an environment right now. So I'll be creating some name here. You can just give virtual env and the name you can give. So I'm just giving demo. So it is created a virtual environment and you need to activate that one.
Hello,
Okay,
Uday.
I'll just
Yeah, thanks.
okay, I think it is it visible right now?
Yeah, maybe if you can zoom in. Now it is better, I guess. Yeah, now it is better. Yeah.
Okay. So I just created the environment. So you need to activate that one. So you can simply activate, just go to that folder and you'll be finding the scripts. Okay, I'm doing this in Windows, but if you are using any other environments, any other operating system, it is different. So in Windows, you just go to that folder and there will be a file activate. You just enter that one. And if you see the name which you had given here, the environment is activated. And if you install the libraries, it will be restricted to only this environment. So it will not disturb any of the other projects. So we have just created this one. So the first thing is this is the code part where we'll be training the model and saving that one. So I'm using a simple data set which is iris. A lot of people know what it is. So we are not concentrating on how to find the best model. We'll be just training that one, and our concentration will be completely on deploying that one. So I'll just go through the code part. You can see the first is we will need to import the libraries. So we'll be using scikit-learn here, and we will be also using the pickle where you'll be using that one to save your model in some serialization format. You can use other like joblib or any other things, but I'm using pickle right now, and this is operating system library we'll be using. So first thing is we need to load the data. So this iris data is already available in the sklearn data sets. So it is simple. You can just write it like sklearn or datasets.load iris, and it will be loading that data into this folder. I mean this variable, sorry. And then you need to split the data into train set and the test set. So once you've done that one, so you'll be having all the training data, test data, and the training labels and the test labels. So and then finally you will be training your model. So I'm using random forest here. So you can just simply use this code sklearn dot ensemble dot random forest, and we'll be giving an estimator 500. So as I said, we are not focusing on model. So I'm not doing any hyperparameter tuning here. It's just we'll be training a model and saving that one. And finally, we'll be fit that one where it will be trained. So we'll be giving the training data and the train labels. So the model will be trained there, and finally we'll be testing that what on test data and test labels. So we'll be printing the accuracy as well, and here we will be saving the model. So the first thing is you need to give the file name, like the name of the file which should be the saved model name, and we'll be using a pickle. So pickle.dump, we'll be giving the model here, object on the model object, and then you'll be opening that file here with the file name, and you'll be writing that one. So once you run this file, so I'll just run this file. So we don't have any libraries installed, so we need to install them because this is the new environment. So we need to install them. So it's easy. You can use pip and install. Uh, so and it is installed. It is installing, and the next we can install other libraries if we are using any other libraries. If not, we can just run the command, and it will be training the model and saving that. So it is done. So okay, there is an issue with the NumPy, I think. So we need to install NumPy, which is a different version. Let's say if we can install NumPy. We need, I think there is a problem in my system, so I'm installing NumPy with a different version. If you face the same problem in Windows, you can install the NumPy with the version 1.9.4 or something. I think there is something. Okay, let me just solve this problem. Okay, it's 1.19.3. Sorry. Okay, let's install this version. Okay, it is successfully installed. So let's run the models.py file, and it will be generating the it will be training the trained model, and here is the accuracy, and it also saved the file. You can see the file name here, irismodel.pk. So we successfully trained the model and saved that one. So this is our first step, and we are successful at that one. So let's go to the next step. So once we trained our model and saved it, and the next thing is we need to have an API thing, because we need to talk with the server. So for that one, we will be using the Flask. So it is an API first approach, because let's say if you have if you created an architecture or a platform which having different programming languages, you're using different programming languages. If you want to develop something in that language, it is very difficult because it will be time consuming. So let's say you're using with Java, you need to generate a model and deploy that, save that, and load that in Java itself. So it is very difficult. But when you want to go with cross language, then API is the best thing. So here for that, creating that API, we will be using Flask. So what is Flask? It is a framework that allows you to build web applications. So it's simple, like it is a framework which is used to build the web applications. And we also have other frameworks which you can use, which can be Django, Falcon, Hagen, many more other web framework applications we have. And if we are using R, we have a package called a Plumber. So you can use any of the web framework application to create a web application or an API interface. So we'll be installing the Flask. So let's go and install the Flask first. So it's simple. Okay. Install Flask. So it will be installing the Flask, And now it's time to create the Flask application. So these are the steps where you'll be creating the app. The first we need to give some models to save our save the models, and then we'll be creating the path, and we'll be also creating the different path to predict the class, and we'll be returning the result. So I'll show how we'll be doing that one. So this is the file, so which is an app. First we'll be importing the libraries. So these are the needed libraries: NumPy, Flask, Pickle, and OS. So and then you need to give the name for the app, and we need to load the saved model. This is important. So we need to load the saved model. So we'll write a function for that one. So this is a load model function which returns the model. So this is where we'll be loading the model. So we'll be using the same library pickle.load, and we'll be opening that file which we saved. So it will return the model, and this is the function for to return the home page. So whenever you open a website, it will be landing on some web page. So here we'll be giving this a root path. So whenever you enter let's say google.com, so you'll be visiting a Google search engine website. So that is what the root page. So this slash is a root page. So where we'll be just rendering the template. So render template is nothing but whenever you give a HTML file, it will render that one. So this is the file we created, index.html. So that is saved in the templates folder. So whenever you have an HTML files, that should be saved in a templates folder. So you just go into that template folder, and this is what the index.html file is. It is very simple. Like I just created 4 input boxes and a submit button. So whenever you enter that values and click the submit button, it will predict the result. So it is very simple HTML page. And let's go back to the app.py. So this is where whenever you clicked on the URL, you'll be seeing the index page. And then whenever you submit the result, you just entered 4 values and you clicked on the submit button. So it should be whenever you give data to something, it will be a post request. Like you will be sending some data, and whenever you want to receive some data back. So here we are creating another route, so which is /predict. So and you'll be passing the data here. So whenever you click the submit button, it will be passed to this URL, like the google.com/predict, and you'll be passing that information to that URL. So let's go to index.html. So here you'll be seeing a login class, and you'll be submitting that button, and it will be passed to the predict. See, whenever you click the submit button, this is where URL for and predict. So it will be, and the method is post. So it will be a post request to that URL. So let's go there. So this is done, and we'll be creating some function here. So whenever your web app routes to this page, it will automatically call this function predict. And these are the labels where we'll be having in iris dataset, like setosa, vesicolor, and vajanica. And this is where you'll be getting the input. So this is the request, and it will be a JSON format mostly. So that request dot from dot values. So you'll be all getting the all 4 values, and you'll be converting that into float, and you'll be storing that in a list here. So this list contains all the 4 values, and we'll be converting that into a NumPy array, because all the machine learning models consider inputs as inputs coming from a NumPy arrays. Or if you are using TensorFlow, it will be trying to capture the tensors. So we are using scikit-learn, which will be taking the input as NumPy arrays. So we'll be generating that here, and all the values will be stored here. Like we'll be having all the 4 values which is in NumPy. And finally here we'll be calling the load model function here. So load model is here, so it will be returning the model, and that model is stored into the model variable. And finally you will be doing model.predict. and you'll be passing that values here, and it will be predicting the result. So predicting, it will be returning a list. So we'll be taking the first value from the list because we only passed one data point as an input. So you'll be getting only one result. So, and we'll be passing that result to the labels here to get the label value, because it will be giving only 0, 1, 2. So we need to know the name. We need to know the names of that one. So I just passing that uh, value to this label. So we'll be getting the class name, and it will be stored into the result. And finally, we need to render that one. So here again, we'll be passing the result to the index.html. The output will be the flower is, and you'll be getting that result here. We'll be passing the result here. So how we'll be showing the output here? So let's just go back to the index.html. So whenever you click that submit button, that form is completed, and you'll be getting the result, and which is stored in the output variable. So you'll be pasting that on the same web page with this variable name. So whenever you see here, we'll be having the same name. So output, and you'll be passing the same thing to the web page. And finally, you'll be taking the port. This is important when you are running in Heroku. So I just comment it out. We'll be asking, we don't need all these things because it will be run default on 5000 port. So these are very important for Heroku because it will be running on some different port, but we need to mention that to run on 5000, or the port which it is running on, we need to take that one. So once that is done, so you can just simply run this file like python app.py. So once that is done, it will be generating an URL here. Just click on that one. So it will be redirected to this website. So this is local. You can see the port number and the URL, which is local. And this is the website which we created. So where we entered the 4 values. You can give some other values, 1.3 or anything you can give, which is valid for the iris dataset. So whenever you create, you just given the values and click on the submit button, and it will be generating the result here. If it is not visible, I'll just zoom in. So whenever you submit all the values, and it will be generating the result as the flower is a versicolor. So if you give some other values, let's say 3.4, anything, you can give any values. I'm just giving some random values, and I'll be submitting that one. So just given the same output, maybe it is a versicolor. So let's go with the other values. It's generating the same result or not, let's see. So it generated a different result. The flower is Virginica here. So I hope you understood like how to run on local. So this is how we can create a Flask application which can run on local system. So but that is not good enough. Like we want to deploy it somewhere and everyone can use that one. So that is very important. So let's go and do that one. So once that all the steps are done, so we're done with all the steps. We successfully run the Flask application on our local systems. And okay, if you have any questions, you can ask here, or else we can just go with the flow, and finally we can answer if you have any questions.
Hi, Uday. Yeah, I think there are a few questions. Maybe we can pick it at the end, or what do you prefer generally? Maybe we can complete it.
I'm good with anything.
Yeah, maybe we
Okay.
can finish it off and then pick everything at the end. I think some of them will be covered in the next few minutes. I guess some of the questions that people are asking. So yeah, we can go ahead.
Okay. Okay, cool. So we are done with the questions. Okay, we don't have any right now, but we'll be taking at the end. So
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
just go with the flow. So I'll just okay. So we will be using Heroku services. So it is nothing but like it is a platform as a service that enables the deployment of a web app based on the managed container system with integrated data services and a powerful ecosystem. So it is, let me explain in simple words. It is nothing but it will be taking all your local deployment into the cloud. So it's that simple. So you'll be deploying your local, which you deployed in a local on a cloud. Easy. So that is what Heroku will be doing. And what are the steps we need to follow here? So we need to generate few files. One is proc file, and the other one is a requirements file. And and we have two ways to deploy. As I said, first we'll be doing with the UI, and then next we'll be doing with the command line. Okay, first do with the UI. So we need to generate other files. So let's go and generate them. Sorry. So first thing is we need to generate the proc file. So it is nothing but it will be saying to Heroku to run this command whenever you deploy that one. So it will be using a other tool called Unicorn, which it will be using to deploy the Flask applications. So we need to install that one because we need to say Heroku that you should also install this tool. So let's install that in our local. So it is easy, like pip install. So it will be installing that library, so which is already there. And then the next step, we need to install the requirements.txt. So if you don't have any environment, like I said, why we need to create a virtual environment, because this one. So if you don't create that one, so whenever you generate the requirements.txt, you'll be getting a lot of libraries which you used in other projects as well. So which is not that good. So you need to restrict that to only your project. So we created the virtual environment here. So it is simple to create this file. So a simple command, freeze, and then we'll be passing that to into the requirements file. So it is simple. Like you'll be passing, it will be just taking all the libraries which are installed with the version as well. So whenever you pass this file to Heroku, so it will install all the libraries which are available in this file with the version available. So this is important because you should not get any version conflicts again when you deploy that into some cloud services. So this file is very important. And the other files also which we can create is git ignore. So whenever you have some other different things which you don't want to uh, upload them into your GitHub or the Heroku, you can write all of them here, because you will be having a lot of hidden files which you don't want to just push that into your GitHub. So I created this file because I don't want to push the virtual environment folder. So I just mentioned that one. And these are all the other files which can be some hidden things or any other crap which we don't need to use them. And the other file which we can create is runtime.txt, where you will be mentioning the version of the Python which you say to Heroku to use that one, because you did this one in your local with some Python version. But if that Heroku is using other Python version, then it may generate the conflicts. So it is better to mention the Python version as well. So I'm using 3.8.0, so I mentioned that one. So we are done. Like we created all the files which we want, and finally what we can do is we can push all the code to Heroku. I mean GitHub. We can push all the code to GitHub, and from there we will be just connecting that to Heroku and we'll be running that one. So you created, like we just commented out this code, which is we should get it back, this one. Okay. So we generated the model file and all the requirements file as well. So I'm just committing that one. So you can do you can just commit that through a visual code, or you can also do that one through uh, GitHub desktop as well. So I'm just doing that through Visual Studio. So I'll just push the code. So once it is done, we'll be having the latest version. Okay, repository not found, maybe some error. So we can just clone the code again. So we'll be having everything. So let's just go to GitHub and check whether everything is available or not. Okay, one thing, we don't have anything here. So I think some error. Okay, let me fix this one fast. I'm sorry guys, I think this is not the right path. Okay, sorry. This is the file. Okay, let me replace everything. Okay, we are good to go. We got all the changes here. So we can write something commit, and we'll be just pushing that to, we'll be just committed and we'll be pushing that to the GitHub. And we can check in the GitHub whether we got the code or not. So once the push is done, we can, let me go there and check. Okay, it is done. So let me check here in GitHub. Okay, we got all the code ready. So the next step, we need to, if you don't have any Heroku account, you create that one. So I already have that one, so I'm not creating it. So just copy the repository name, it is better. So once done, like you just go to Heroku, and I don't have any app, so I want to do that live. So we'll be creating a new app here. You can give any name, but remember you need to give a name which is not used by any people on internet. So I'll be just creating some name here. Let's say deploy model. Okay, this name is available. So I'll just create that one. So once you created, so there will be different deployment methods. So one is through GitHub command line, and the other one is through GitHub. So first thing we'll be doing through GitHub. So let's just click that button. So, and you need to connect your GitHub here, which I already did. So I'm not doing that one. So you'll be getting a button where you need to click that one. So it will be connected. It will be connected to your GitHub. So you can give your repo name here. Then click the search button. So if it finds, like you'll be getting that repository name here, and you can click the connect button. So this repository will be connected to Heroku. And then finally you'll be getting this button. Let's just click this one, deploy branch. So it will be deploying that one. So if we just go through the logs, so it will be installing the Python version which we mentioned, Python 3.8.0, and it will be taking the requirements file here. If you see, it will be a requirements file, and it will be installing all the libraries which we mentioned in the requirements file with the version, with the same version. So it is installing everything. So let's see, once that is done, okay, it is installing the libraries, and finally it will be doing some other things in the backend which are important for Heroku. So once that is done, we'll be getting some success message as your model is deployed. If not, you'll be getting some error and you need to fix that one. Okay, we can see we got the URL as well, which is deployed successfully. We'll just wait for the message, the final message. Okay, it is loading the output, and okay, done. So we got this message, your app was successfully deployed. So if you want to check that one, just click the view button and you'll be getting the website if it successfully deployed. So you can see the URL here, DeFi deployed model and Heroku.com. And you can give some output and you can check whether it is working perfectly or not. So I'm just giving some values, and let's just click the submit button, and it predicted the output as well. And you can see the post method went to /predict, so which I had shown you there. So we successfully deployed and we got everything working perfectly, and we got the result as well. So this is how you can deploy your models using their UI. But the other way we can do is through the command line. So I'll also show that one, like how we can do. So these are the steps we completed. But whenever we go to the CLI, so the first thing which is very important is you need to install Heroku CLI tool. So which I already did. You can just search that one, Heroku CLI download. So it will be redirecting to that website, and you can simply download their uh, CLI tool. So which I already did, so I'm not doing that again. So you can find, if you're a Windows user, you can download that one and install. And if you are Ubuntu, you can just run this command. And if you're Mac, you can run this command. So once you install the CLI tool, so the next command which we need to run is we need to log in the command line with our account. So one important thing we need to focus here is, let me show that one. I think this is not the perfect. Okay. So one thing I want to mention here is, because you already have installed some Git and because you are using GitHub, so it is a GitHub repository. So you need to create a new folder here. You can just name anything. So once you create a new folder and you just give some name, deploy, and copy all these files and keep that in that folder. So I'm pasting that in that folder. So here you can initialize the Git again here. So we'll be doing that one. So we'll be just opening the terminal, a new terminal. So we need to check whether all the things are perfect or not. Okay, everything is perfect. So once you are done, so here you need to just go into that folder, which is deploy. And here do the Heroku login. So just press enter if you want to log in through the web browser, or else you can log in through the commands by entering your username and password. So you can just simply log in through their website. So once logged in, just go back there and you can see logged in as my username, my email ID. And then the next command, you can create the app from here itself. Like let's just create the app. So Heroku create, and you can give the app name. So I'll give the same app. We'll just give some minor change there. Deploy model one. So I'll just give them some name, and we'll just create that app there. So it will be creating. You can cross check in their website. Let's just go to their website, and you can create on the dashboard button, and you can see, okay, we created a new app here. That is good. So our next step is to initialize the Git here. So it is simple. You can just initialize it. It will be initialized, and you will need to add all the files here. Do the add Git. So I'm just adding, and you can commit the code. You can give some message. So it committed the code, and we need to push this code into their platform. So for that, you need to use this command git push Heroku master. So let's do that one. Okay, I think some error here. Okay, I think I need to solve this again. Now we got some other error here. So let's try to solve it. I'm not that good at it, but let me try to solve it. Because this already is in some Git folder, maybe that is the issue. So let me create another Visual Studio with other different folder. Maybe that is best for us. So let me open some folder here. So I'll just open some. I'll just create a new folder here. So I'll choose that folder. Okay, we'll copy the same code and everything. We'll just go there and get all the code from here. We'll just go to that folder and solve this. Okay, we are done. That is good. So we are in this folder. So we'll just create a new terminal and let's log in again. Okay, we logged in. So we already created uh, an app there, but we need to connect that one. So there will be some command. I don't remember, but let's just create another app here. So okay, we created that one successfully. So and then just go to git init, git repository, git add everything here. Okay, let's try to push. Maybe some git error. It is not getting the repository, I guess. Oh, okay. Okay, maybe it's difficult to solve this one, I guess. But once you are done with this command, like once you run just git push Heroku master, and it will be following all the steps. Like it will be getting the Python version, it will be getting the requirements file, and it will be installing everything. And then once it is done, you can just run the Heroku open. So it will open the app with the link it generated, and you can see the output as well. So I think that is what you can do with the command line. Okay, we got some command. Let's check from rounds. I think it is not working, but it's fine. Uh, Maybe we can solve this one. Maybe you can solve this one whenever you face this issue. Okay, I think, yeah. If you have any questions, you can ask this one. I mean, we are done with the session.
Yeah, thanks Uday. So maybe, like, people were suggesting a bunch of things, but yeah, probably, like, we'll push a video once we fix it. I think that's better. Yeah, actually, like, coming to model deployment, it's all about, like, you run into a lot of issues, right, in the overall scheme of things, and it's all about experimentation and try to understand where exactly we are getting into trouble, and then fix it accordingly. So it's that way, like, it's a Herculean task, I believe. But yeah, I think yeah, with that, probably we can get started with few questions, maybe. How to
Yes, if they have any questions. Yeah, please.
pickle models. So maybe if you can add some context about pickle file and how to pickle models, maybe that would be great. You
Like,
can add more context out there.
yeah. Like it is very simple. Like pickle is nothing but it is a way to serialize your model, because you need to serialize that and save it, and then finally whenever you are loading it, you will be deserializing that one. So it is easy to save the model and load that one. So pickle is a way to do that. So it is a Python library which you can use, and whenever you are just use this command like pickle.dump, it will be dumping all your model and into the given file name in a serialization format. Like whenever you try to open, you cannot open that one. I mean, you cannot see whatever it is in, but if you want to see, if you want to go through that, you won't even understand, because it's completely in a different format, which is serialized in some other different format. So I don't know exactly what it is, but it will be converted into that one, and whenever you load it, it will be deserializing that. I mean, there are different ways. You can use pickle, you can use job lib, or you can do that ONNX format, and maybe there are many other things which you can use.
Okay. Yeah. And there is another question. Can we create virtual environments for eDrive? I don't know. I think it was contextual to one of the topics that you were talking about.
I think it is simple. Like you can just create a virtual environment anywhere you want. It is simple. Like you can just install virtual env. You can install that using pip install virtual env, and it will be installed, and you can use the same command, and you'll be giving some environment name. So let me give the again the same name. So it will be creating that environment here. You can see it is created a new folder, and you need to activate that one. So I think you can do that anywhere if you have access to that path.
Okay, got it. And someone asked this question right at the beginning. My project works well in local, but on Heroku, I have faced problem in returning part like dollar undefined.
So it's difficult to give the answer without going through what he did. I mean, it's really difficult.
Okay, yeah, unless we see it, like, it's really difficult. I mean, it's difficult to address it right now. Maybe okay. Will I think Gunika has something to add. Maybe Gunika.
Yeah, I was suggesting probably after Heroku login, you missed out on Heroku Create. Can you try that out?
I mean, I created new one, but it is problem because of Git actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
So
showing
I
that it's not able to access the Heroku branch or something. So,
I
Heroku.
mean, I created multiple apps actually. Like, let's see, we have three right now. I mean, I created two times, so you can see there are two other apps here.
mm-hmm.
Right.
So that
Is
maybe
the
not an
name
issue, I guess.
maybe name conflict is there? So you can try changing the name of the application. Heroku Create anything ABC.
I mean, it can be if we create another app, we will be creating another app actually. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
the problem with the application, but it is problem with the Git. It is not getting the repository. I mean, the initialized repository. So that is what the problem actually.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll fix this one mostly. I mean, it will take some time, I guess.
Yeah, true, true, true. Yeah, we can share the context later on, maybe after the session. And
Yeah.
how does Heroku compare with other solutions like Beanstack, Firebase, or Google App Engine?
Uh, Let me compare. I mean, Heroku is best if I mean it can support multiple frameworks. It can be you can use Python or Java, anything. But it is not that efficient when you deploy big models in a free version. I'm saying, but if you have a paid version, then you can go with this one. But it is not that recommended if you want to scale your application. If you want to scale your application, you need to have different tools you'll be using. You'll be having a streamlined connection and many things, which all these are available at one place. That can be a big cloud platforms. You can go with the Google uh, or AWS or Azure. You can use any one of the big platforms where all the tools will be available at the same place. So you can just use them and you can just integrate all the tools at the same time. So I think it is depends on the project, which
Right.
project you are doing.
Yeah. And someone is asking, I have a quick question. Is this the deploy the default way to deploy in the industry, or what technique would organizations use for deployment?
I mean, okay, this is completely for beginners, but which is this is not recommended in the industry. I mean, if you are in industry, you will be having a lot of things to manage, like a lot of the requirements and a lot of and architecture is the biggest issue. Like you need to create the perfect architecture where it will be having all the data pipelines and it should be working perfectly. So you can use, I mean, there will be a lot of problems after deploying. As I said, data drift will be, but whenever you want to deploy a new model, you need to down the model which is in production, and people may face issues because the model will be not working for some time whenever you are deploying a new version. That is one issue. And if you want to roll back to the previous versions, there will be a lot of issues you'll be facing after deploying. But this is not the right way. But there are many other tools, like if you are using TensorFlow serving, so it is best. It is the one of the best tools. It will solve a lot of issues after deployments. So you'll be using that one. And as I said, like you will be considering a lot of things. You'll be considering reproducibility, scalability, which is very important. So I can say this is just for beginners who want to deploy their pet projects.
Yeah, who want to get a hang of how it works, how to deploy a model
Yeah.
works, right? So yeah, great, got it. And also, I think we have few more. Can you also get live data directly from DB and show predictions?
Oh yes, that is what I said. Like it's a streamlined data. I mean streaming,
Mm-hmm.
real time predictions. Like if you are saving data into your DB, which whenever you get a request, then you'll be getting that data from the DB every time. So you'll be getting whatever the data is available in the DB, and you can make the predictions in live. So that can be done. That is what real time streaming. Maybe you can use a Spark Streamline, which is a tool which can help in real time predictions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, that can be done. Yes.
yeah. And someone is asking, is it possible to upload a file and return results with Flask model deployment.
Yes, I mean, I did a project like where you'll be uploading an image file and you'll be getting a result whether that image is dog or cat. I mean, I did that project, so you can just upload images and you can predict the result of that image. It can be any other files. You can just give audio file and it will be generating the output of that audio file. You need to just change few things in your HTML code to
Yeah.
save that file and get the file in right format.
And also, people are asking for the GitHub repo. Maybe you can, once you, we can
And
probably
GitHub, yeah,
once,
like we just created, so you can use that GitHub repo right away.
we can share that. Yeah, probably you can send it to
Yeah.
me later, and we'll, I'll pick it up and we'll share it.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, and I think this question was asked previously, but yeah. Uh, I think we are pretty much done with the questions. How did you generate a proc file? Yeah.
Profile. I mean, it's simple. Like you can just create a new file. So
Mm.
you can create a what is- you can just create a new file name proc file. Uh,
Mhm.
that is very simple. Like just enter it in proc.
Yeah.
And you can just if you are using Visual Studio, it will be generating the platform as well. You can see Heroku here.
Right.
So it is that simple. No? So
Got
and
it.
you will need to mention the this is the command which will be run whenever the application need to start in the Heroku. So you'll be mentioning that.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Yeah. Aligned. And I think we are pretty much done with the questions. I think, that's it for now. I mean, there are a few other questions which we try to address on comments itself. And thanks a lot, Uday, for the insightful session. I think you took it in a very nice slow pace. I hope people will be able to deploy the models. For all the advanced learners out there, we have released assignment 3. The objective of that assignment is to deploy your machine learning model. So we have given a problem as well. You need to build a model and then deploy it using the techniques that you have learned yesterday and today. And also we have put some material out there on the platform, so you can use that to be able to build your models. Okay. So ensure that you go through the instructions properly before you start with that. And thanks once again, Uday. Before we end the session, any quick thoughts on your experiences? Anything that you would want to share with the community? We'll be happy to learn more from
Uh,
your
I
experiences. Yeah.
mean, this community is really the best one. I think I had seen like doing everything for the people. Like, uh, so you are just creating some boot camps, a machine learning boot camp or a deep learning boot camp, and that is for free. Like from the community to the community, like which is very interesting point. Like, I mean, I can't say that one, but yeah, that is very interesting where they're sharing the knowledge with the communities and with the passion. Like we are not charging anything, but we are just doing out of passion. And I think the other thing which you are doing is a great thing is like datathons, uh, which is a practical way for the people to gain the skills. I mean that is very important. Like we are just learning the theory, that is not enough these days. A lot of companies are expecting hands-on skills. So I think that is one of the best thing. Yeah. I mean, you are doing a lot of things which are very inspiring and which is very good to the community. So I
Thanks.
think like I'm thanks to having me to share knowledge on this platform. Like
Thanks a
I
lot.
mean, I'm just thanking.
And I think you're doing the same thing with Learn Machine Learning. You keep coming up with some really insightful posts out there, which are quick to grasp on social media and then get a lot of context about the concept very quickly. You can talk about your motivation, the starting, and how you maybe. I think that would be really insightful for everyone out there to hear about Learn Machine Learning. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, Maybe like when I'm just learning things, we learned a lot from the communities itself. We learn through blogs, YouTube videos, or some free courses available on internet. So all those are created by the community, and you will learn from the community. So I thought, if I'm good at something, like I need to give back that to the community, where other people will be learning from that one. So with that motive, I just started this page 2 years back, where I want to share the knowledge which I know. So I just started that one and just started creating some posts, and later on we just created some YouTube videos to explain things in more practical ways. And like there is only one motive from my side, like I learn by sharing, so everyone should do that one. Whenever you share things, you will learn a lot, because you'll be learning and sharing. So you'll be learning a lot of things while sharing. So that is what one of the motive I follow mostly. and
Yeah.
and yeah, and and for the community, like I just created 100 days of machine learning code. You can just go through that one. And we are also planning to create another platform where you'll be having the same 100 days of code, but with a practical way, where you'll be having objectives, what you need to do, and you'll be having a lot of quizzes there, and a lot of solutions as well. So you can, it will be complete hands-on 100 days of code. So we are planning that one. Maybe we will be doing that soon.
Yeah. Great. Great. Nice to know that. And thanks, Ran, Uday. Thanks for joining in. And yeah,
Oh yeah, thank you so much,
bye.
everyone.